Lu Shirao is bleeding out, surrounded by an unstoppable army, his entire team about to die. So he pulls out a cigar. He trades it to the most powerful villain in the apocalypse for 1 minute of peace, and that single cigar becomes the trap that kills the final boss. He opens his eyes and immediately knows two things. Today is November 4th, 2050, and the world ends in 18 hours. Lu Shirao doesn't scream. He doesn't cry. He just lies there in his cramped apartment and runs the numbers. He's been here before. He lived through the apocalypse once already, watched the world burn, watched everyone he knew die one by one. And somehow, impossibly, he woke up here, right back at the start, 18 hours before the zombie virus tears through every city on Earth. Most people would freeze. Most people would call their family, say goodbye, curl up somewhere safe. Lu Shirao? He's already making a list. The first problem is money. In his past life, he was broke, and being broke in the apocalypse means dying fast. He has assets, technically. His boss owes him months of back salary. His neighbor Mr. Zhao has a penthouse mortgage that's drowning him. There are angles everywhere, if you know how to push. But then something strange happens. A notification flares up in his mind. Cold, clear, mechanical. Trading talent. Any item can be traded between two consenting parties. Unequal value triggers automatic punishment or failure. Traders can ignore space and carriers. He goes still. He remembers now. This was the talent of the original host of this body. He inherited it when he came back. And he has just 18 hours to figure out what it can do. The talent lets him trade anything. Objects, skills, even physical conditions. With consent from both sides, the system locks it in. No backing out, no tricks, no takebacks. And the enforcement is absolute. Break a trade? The system punishes you. Automatically. Painfully. No exceptions. Lu Shirao reads that last line twice. Then he smiles. He heads to his workplace first. His boss, Lu Sha, is in a full performance, cutting salaries, threatening walkouts, treating his employees like furniture. He announces that Lu Shirao's pay is dropping to 1,800 yuan. Don't like it? Leave. Lu Shirao doesn't argue. He doesn't quit. He walks calmly to Mr. Zhao's office, his boss's business partner with a 4 million yuan mortgage dragging him underwater, and makes a proposal so simple it sounds insane. You have over 4 million renminbi in mortgage on your Biswan penthouse. Give me 1 million in cash. I'll take over your mortgage. Zhao stares at him like he's lost his mind. But the math isn't wrong. Zhao gets out from under a suffocating debt. Lu Shirao takes it on, knowing full well the building won't matter in 17 hours. The transaction completes. 1 million in cash transfers to Lu Shirao. The mortgage transfers to him. He walks out of that office with more money than he's ever held, and a timeline ticking in the back of his skull. Next stop, the fitness center. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The building's resident gym coach, Zhang Dongping, has always been the type who mistakes muscles for superiority. He's been looking down at Lu Shirao for years, belittling his income, mocking his clothes, treating him like something scraped off the bottom of a shoe. Lu Shirao walks up to him like he's buying groceries. I'll pay you 10,000 renminbi for your daily stamina. Dongping doesn't even think about it. 10,000 for a feeling? Easy money. He shakes on it immediately, and immediately collapses. 1 second he's standing. The next he's dizzy, trembling, barely able to grip the counter. His entire day's physical energy has just been transferred to Lu Shirao, who rolls his shoulders, feels the warm rush of borrowed strength, and then punches Dongping square in the face. Get lost. Dongping doesn't know what hit him. Literally. He vows revenge through gritted teeth as Lu Shirao walks away, already calculating his next move. He has money. He has energy. Now he needs a weapon. He dials a number he memorized from his past life. A black market arms dealer who runs his operation through a fake seafood shop. The man answers in code. Lu Shirao doesn't play along. I want a handgun, suppressor, and bullets. 200,000 renminbi. You don't need to show up. Agree in 3 seconds. He counts down. 3, 2, 1. The dealer, either very greedy or very fast, agrees. The gun appears. 200,000 disappears. The dealer panics on the other end of the line. Where did this money come from? Who are you? Lu Shirao hangs up. He has capital, physical strength, and a weapon. But he's been moving too fast, because outside, something has already shifted. Emergency broadcasts start cutting through the city's noise. Violent assault incidents. An infected woman carrying a child, stumbling back from outside, screaming. Building security scrambling to close the gate. Official broadcasts telling everyone to stay put and wait. The words governments always say when they've already lost control. And Lu Shirao notices something that tightens his chest. The chaos is happening earlier than last time. He runs the math quickly and doesn't like the answer. His trades, the speed and energy he put into motion, may have kicked off a chain reaction. The timeline has accelerated. Everything he expected to happen on day 2 is happening now. He thinks back to last life sequence. Chaos by day 5. Food gone by day 7. People turning on each other by day 10. He can't afford to assume the schedule holds anymore. The plan must be activated immediately. The building's halls are already getting dangerous. Screaming drifts up from below. The infected are moving. Lu Shirao checks his supplies, checks his weapon, and starts running through names in his head. People he needs, people he remembers from last time, people whose deaths he's already watched once and has no intention of watching again. He needs eyes first. Information. Control over what he can't physically watch himself. He finds Uncle Fong and his wife in the building's security office. 2 older people camped beside a bank of surveillance monitors showing every floor, every hallway, every entrance. He remembers them from his past life. Decent people. Quiet people. In the last timeline, they survived over 10 days in that little office before hunger drove them outside, and outside killed them. He knocks. Offers food and water, real supplies, not promises. Uncle Fong admits they haven't eaten. His wife looks at the food like it's a miracle. Lu Shirao proposes the trade. Consistent food and water, delivered every 3 days. In exchange, he gets shared vision. Access to everything they see, through their eyes, at all times. The security cameras become his personal surveillance network. They agree. They don't fully understand what they're agreeing to, but they're hungry and he's kind, and that's enough. The transaction completes. Suddenly, Lu Shirao can see the entire building. Every corridor, every stairwell, every door. He instructs them to keep watch in shifts, 24 hours, and he'll keep his end of the bargain. He walks away from that security office, seeing the world with 4 eyes. But then the building committee comes knocking. Director Wang Fong has all the energy of someone who thinks a clipboard makes her important. She arrives at Lu Shirao's door with a group of residents, announces that someone reported him hoarding supplies, and demands he donate everything for uniform distribution. Lu Shirao looks at her without blinking. Uniform distribution? You mean uniformly into your pocket? She sputters, escalates, threatens. Lu Shirao deflects her immediately by naming Zhang Chong, a known local criminal from Unit 3001, as a far bigger hoarder who she should deal with first. She buys it, sends Zhang Chong to Lu Shirao's door instead. What Director Wang doesn't know, what she can't know, is that Lu Shirao remembers Zhang Chong from his past life. This man wasn't just dangerous. In the last timeline, Zhang Chong robbed everyone in the building and personally cut off one of Lu Shirao's arms. Our guy has been waiting for this reunion. When Zhang Chong shows up with his crew, expecting easy intimidation, he finds Lu Shirao already standing there. Armed, calm, entirely unsurprised. Zhang Chong smirks at the gun. That must be fake. It is not fake. The fight is short. Zhang Chong's crew is handled. Zhang Chong himself ends up on his knees, begging, the fastest turnaround from threatening to terrified you've ever seen. And Lu Shirao makes him an offer. Pledge 10 years of armed loyalty to me. I'll give you supplies, weapons, and protection. If you disagree, you can leave, but you won't survive 3 minutes without me. Zhang Chong looks at the gun, looks at his beaten crew, looks at Lu Shirao's completely unbothered expression. He agrees. The transaction locks in. Loyalty binding at 92%. Lu Shirao adds one final line before walking away. From now on in this community, I make the rules. You execute them. He's been reborn for less than a day. He already has money, a weapon, surveillance over the entire building, and a trained fighter sworn to him. The apocalypse hasn't even started yet. And somewhere below, the screaming is getting louder. Lu Shirao is bleeding out, surrounded by an unstoppable army, his entire team about to die. So he pulls out a cigar. He trades it to the most powerful villain in the apocalypse for 1 minute of peace. and that single cigar becomes the trap that kills the final boss. He opens his eyes and immediately knows two things. Today is November 4th, 2050, and the world ends in 18 hours. Lu Shirao doesn't scream. He doesn't cry. He just lies there in his cramped apartment and runs the numbers. He's been here before. He lived through the apocalypse once already, watched the world burn, watched everyone he knew die one by one. And somehow, impossibly, he woke up here, right back at the start. 18 hours before the zombie virus tears through every city on Earth. Most people would freeze. Most people would call their family, say goodbye, curl up somewhere safe. Lu Shirao? He's already making a list. The first problem is money. In his past life, he was broke, and being broke in the apocalypse means dying fast. He has assets, technically. His boss owes him months of back salary. His neighbor Mr. Zhao has a penthouse mortgage that's drowning him. There are angles everywhere, if you know how to push. But then something strange happens. A notification flares up in his mind. Cold, clear, mechanical. Trading talent. Any item can be traded between two consenting parties. Unequal value triggers automatic punishment or failure. Traders can ignore space and carriers. He goes still. He remembers now. This was the talent of the original host of this body. He inherited it when he came back. And he has just 18 hours to figure out what it can do. The talent lets him trade anything. Objects, skills, even physical conditions. With consent from both sides, the system locks it in. No backing out, no tricks, no takebacks. And the enforcement is absolute. Break a trade? The system punishes you. Automatically. Painfully. No exceptions. Lu Shirao reads that last line twice. Then he smiles. He heads to his workplace first. His boss, Lu Sha, is in a full performance, cutting salaries, threatening walkouts, treating his employees like furniture. He announces that Lu Shirao's pay is dropping to 1,800 yuan. Don't like it? Leave. Lu Shirao doesn't argue. He doesn't quit. He walks calmly to Mr. Zhao's office, his boss's business partner with a 4 million yuan mortgage dragging him underwater, and makes a proposal so simple it sounds insane. You have over 4 million renminbi in mortgage on your Biswan penthouse. Give me 1 million in cash. I'll take over your mortgage. Zhao stares at him like he's lost his mind. But the math isn't wrong. Zhao gets out from under a suffocating debt. Lu Shirao takes it on, knowing full well the building won't matter in 17 hours. The transaction completes. 1 million in cash transfers to Lu Shirao. The mortgage transfers to him. He walks out of that office with more money than he's ever held, and a timeline ticking in the back of his skull. Next stop, the fitness center. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The building's resident gym coach, Zhang Dongping, has always been the type who mistakes muscles for superiority. He's been looking down at Lu Shirao for years, belittling his income, mocking his clothes, treating him like something scraped off the bottom of a shoe. Lu Shirao walks up to him like he's buying groceries. I'll pay you 10,000 renminbi for your daily stamina. Dongping doesn't even think about it. 10,000 for a feeling? Easy money. He shakes on it immediately, and immediately collapses. 1 second he's standing. The next he's dizzy, trembling, barely able to grip the counter. His entire day's physical energy has just been transferred to Lu Shirao, who rolls his shoulders, feels the warm rush of borrowed strength, and then punches Dongping square in the face. Get lost. Dongping doesn't know what hit him. Literally. He vows revenge through gritted teeth as Lu Shirao walks away, already calculating his next move. He has money. He has energy. Now he needs a weapon. He dials a number he memorized from his past life. A black market arms dealer who runs his operation through a fake seafood shop. The man answers in code. Lu Shirao doesn't play along. I want a handgun, suppressor, and bullets. 200,000 renminbi. You don't need to show up. Agree in 3 seconds. He counts down. 3, 2, 1. The dealer, either very greedy or very fast, agrees. The gun appears. 200,000 disappears. The dealer panics on the other end of the line. Where did this money come from? Who are you? Lu Shirao hangs up. He has capital, physical strength, and a weapon. But he's been moving too fast, because outside, something has already shifted. Emergency broadcasts start cutting through the city's noise. Violent assault incidents. An infected woman carrying a child, stumbling back from outside, screaming. Building security scrambling to close the gate. Official broadcasts telling everyone to stay put and wait. The words governments always say when they've already lost control. And Lu Shirao notices something that tightens his chest. The chaos is happening earlier than last time. He runs the math quickly and doesn't like the answer. His trades, the speed and energy he put into motion, may have kicked off a chain reaction. The timeline has accelerated. Everything he expected to happen on day 2 is happening now. He thinks back to last life sequence. Chaos by day 5. Food gone by day 7. People turning on each other by day 10. He can't afford to assume the schedule holds anymore. The plan must be activated immediately. The building's halls are already getting dangerous. Screaming drifts up from below. The infected are moving. Lu Shirao checks his supplies, checks his weapon, and starts running through names in his head. People he needs, people he remembers from last time, people whose deaths he's already watched once and has no intention of watching again. He needs eyes first. Information. Control over what he can't physically watch himself. He finds Uncle Fong and his wife in the building's security office. 2 older people camped beside a bank of surveillance monitors showing every floor, every hallway, every entrance. He remembers them from his past life. Decent people. Quiet people. In the last timeline, they survived over 10 days in that little office before hunger drove them outside, and outside killed them. He knocks. Offers food and water, real supplies, not promises. Uncle Fong admits they haven't eaten. His wife looks at the food like it's a miracle. Lu Shirao proposes the trade. Consistent food and water, delivered every 3 days. In exchange, he gets shared vision. Access to everything they see, through their eyes, at all times. The security cameras become his personal surveillance network. They agree. They don't fully understand what they're agreeing to, but they're hungry and he's kind, and that's enough. The transaction completes. Suddenly, Lu Shirao can see the entire building. Every corridor, every stairwell, every door. He instructs them to keep watch in shifts, 24 hours, and he'll keep his end of the bargain. He walks away from that security office, seeing the world with 4 eyes. But then the building committee comes knocking. Director Wang Fong has all the energy of someone who thinks a clipboard makes her important. She arrives at Lu Shirao's door with a group of residents, announces that someone reported him hoarding supplies, and demands he donate everything for uniform distribution. Lu Shirao looks at her without blinking. Uniform distribution? You mean uniformly into your pocket? She sputters. Escalates. Threatens. Lu Shirao deflects her immediately by naming Zhang Chong, a known local criminal from Unit 3001, as a far bigger hoarder who she should deal with first. She buys it. Sends Zhang Chong to Lu Shirao's door instead. What Director Wang doesn't know, what she can't know, is that Lu Shirao remembers Zhang Chong from his past life. This man wasn't just dangerous. In the last timeline, Zhang Chong robbed everyone in the building and personally cut off one of Lu Shirao's arms. Our guy has been waiting for this reunion. When Zhang Chong shows up with his crew, expecting easy intimidation, he finds Lu Shirao already standing there. Armed. Calm. Entirely unsurprised. Zhang Chong smirks at the gun. That must be fake. It is not fake. The fight is short. Zhang Chong's crew is handled. Zhang Chong himself ends up on his knees, begging, the fastest turnaround from threatening to terrified you've ever seen. And Lu Shirao makes him an offer. Pledge 10 years of armed loyalty to me. I'll give you supplies, weapons, and protection. If you disagree, you can leave, but you won't survive 3 minutes without me. Zhang Chong looks at the gun, looks at his beaten crew, looks at Lu Shirao's completely unbothered expression. He agrees. The transaction locks in. Loyalty binding at 92%. Lu Shirao adds one final line before walking away. From now on in this community, I make the rules. You execute them. He's been reborn for less than a day. He already has money, a weapon, surveillance over the entire building, and a trained fighter sworn to him. The apocalypse hasn't even started yet. And somewhere below, the screaming is getting louder. The broadcast cuts through everything. Water treatment plants contaminated. Use bottled water only. Do not drink from taps. Emergency response is ongoing. Lu Shirao listens to the announcement and feels something drop in his stomach. Not fear, but urgency. The water contamination was supposed to be a week away. It's happening now. The timeline isn't just slightly accelerated anymore. It is running. Even water contamination is ahead of schedule. he says quietly. If we don't act now, everyone here will die. He calls his team together. The plan: move to the supermarket, secure food, medicine, and key supplies while they still can. Selected members come with him. The rest guard the compound. Simple. Fast. No excess discussion. What could go wrong? The answer, as it turns out, is almost everything. The trip starts badly before they even leave the building. Zhang Dongping is standing at the compound gate. He looks terrible, still weakened from the stamina trade, still embarrassed from the Li Shangjuan incident, still wearing the expression of a man who has made a long list of mistakes and is only just realizing how long it is. He holds up a watch. Old. Expensive. The kind of watch you buy with a full year's salary. He says Lu Shirao gave it to him once. It's the only thing he didn't lose. He begs to come along. Says he can work. Says he can move things. Lu Shirao's answer is immediate. You open the door for Mang. I can't trust you. A negotiation happens. Conditions are set. A transaction is arranged, not with Dongping, but with Li Shangjuan, who is still under contract with a very serious penalty clause attached. The terms tighten. If she betrays the team in any capacity, her life is at Lu Shirao's disposal. The system locks it in without hesitation. Shangjuan's face does something complicated. She's been assigned under Li Mang's command, and she doesn't love it. But she agrees. The team moves out. Zombies are less aggressive in daylight, slower, drawn by sound rather than sight. Lu Shirao briefs everyone before they leave. Move quietly, don't shout, stay together. It should be straightforward. The supermarket is close. The route is clear. Dongping panics and yells within 4 minutes of leaving the building. A single shout is all it takes. Zombies detect sound. The group scatters. They make it into the supermarket, but not quietly. And the moment they step through the doors, they find something that wasn't in anyone's plan. Fresh bloodstains. Still wet. Someone else was here. Recently. Maybe is still here. A woman steps out from behind a display rack. Her name is Lillian. Zhang Dongping goes pale. She was a fan of his, the gym coach's most dedicated follower. He recognizes her immediately. She recognizes him. For about 5 seconds, this is almost a reunion. And then Lu Shirao sees her eyes. She's infected. Not turned yet, but close. Very close. The virus is nearly complete. He raises his weapon. Dongping lunges forward. Don't you dare shoot her, he says. I don't care if she's infected. Don't you dare. He means it. His voice is shaking, but his hands are blocking. He threatens to knock over every shelf in the building. Bring every zombie in the store running. If anyone touches Lillian. The team goes very still. And then Lillian mutates. Not slowly. Not gradually. One moment she is standing there, barely conscious. And the next she is something else entirely. Fast, violent. Her movements sharp and wrong in a way that makes your spine know before your brain does that something has fundamentally changed. She is an evolved zombie. Faster than anything they've seen before. It's broad daylight. Someone says, stunned. They're this fast in daylight. Lu Shirao's order is instant. Zhang Chong, barricade the main door. Everyone else, clear the interior. The fight inside the supermarket is chaos. Shelves overturn. Glass breaks. People scatter and regroup and scatter again. It's loud and exhausting, and more than once it looks like the whole operation might collapse. Lu Shirao takes an injury in the middle of it. Something grabs him, something lands on him. And when the team finally regroups in a cleared aisle, several people are looking at him with an expression that is rapidly becoming dread. He has a wound on his arm. A bite wound. The team freezes. This is not a recoverable injury in normal circumstances. A zombie bite means one thing. Everyone knows it. The panic that ripples through the group is immediate and physical. People taking half a step back, eyes wide. Someone muttering, Brother Lu got bitten. He's going to turn any second. Dr. Gua pushes through to examine it. She confirms the wound is a bite. Li Mang, who has been through too much in too few days and is currently running on protective fury, rounds on her. And you call yourself a doctor? He grabs her, shakes her. Lu Shirao's voice cuts through everything, calm as a man discussing the weather. Don't worry, Yin. I won't turn into a zombie. Trust me. Then he turns to Zhang Dongping. He speaks slowly, deliberately, every word chosen. Zhang Dongping. If I really got bitten, would you be willing to save me? To bear the pain for me? Dongping, who has spent this entire day trying to prove he's useful, who is drowning in guilt over the door he opened for Li Mang, who has been looking at Lu Shirao with the desperate energy of a man trying to rebuild trust. He doesn't even hesitate. Of course, I'd risk my life for you, boss. And then, slightly less helpfully, I'll take good care of your wife after you're gone. Lu Shirao looks at him for one long second. Then you can take my place. The transaction completes before Dongping understands what he agreed to. The infected wound, the zombie bite, the virus, the inevitable death sentence, transfers from Lu Shirao's arm to Zhang Dongping's hand. It is not subtle. The hand begins to swell immediately. The skin darkens. The rot spreads visibly, in real time, up toward his wrist. What happened to my hand? The team stares. Nobody in that supermarket has words for what they just witnessed. The zombie virus, the single most feared thing in this new world, jumped from one living person to another like it was being poured from one cup to the next. Just because two people agreed. Lu Shirao says it's just a minor injury, as if he just transferred a mild headache, and lets the team absorb what they're seeing without elaborating. Dongping collapses. He is quarantined. He is, effectively, no longer a problem. Zhang Chong looks at the situation, looks at Lu Shirao, and quietly assumes leadership of the ground crew with the energy of a man who has decided he will never, ever make a bet against this person. They load the supplies. They get out. Back at the compound, Zhang Chong, still riding the adrenaline of the supermarket run, suggests giving the general population less of the supplies they risked their lives for. They earned this. Why share it equally with people who stayed behind? Lu Shirao says no. Only when the strong help the weak and the weak grow stronger will humanity have hope. It's the kind of line that sounds like a speech. But the way he says it is quiet and completely sincere, and Zhang Chong doesn't argue. The supplies are distributed fairly. And then Lu Shirao notices something ugly happening in the courtyard. One of his own team members is refusing to let the orphan boy Zhao eat. Blocking him. Mocking him. Treating a child like a burden. Lu Shirao crosses the courtyard, gives Zhao full rations in front of everyone, and then turns to face the man responsible with an expression that suggests he is about to have a very bad day. The man tries to apologize. Lu Shirao expels him from the team anyway. Supplies revoked. Protection revoked. Gone. Anyone who repeats such behavior, he says to the group at large, will be expelled and receive nothing. He looks at the orphan boy eating quietly in the corner. Zhao doesn't say thank you. He doesn't need to. He just eats. The route to Jinghai port runs through a lot of things Lu Shirao is prepared for. What he finds instead is something he didn't see coming, or rather, something he barely remembered. They reach a building surrounded by a zombie horde so dense it looks like a wall of movement. And from the upper floors of the building, watching through the windows, is a well-armed survivor group. Rifles, ammunition, tactical positioning. These people are safe, for now. Trapped, but armed. Their leader is a man named Shin Shuabin. Lu Shirao watches from a distance as Shuabin reaches through a broken window and heals a dying soldier with nothing but touch. The wound closes. The man revives. It's instant, it's total, and Lu Shirao's internal reaction is sharp and immediate. Instant healing. Could it be the medical talent I heard about in my previous life? He's never seen it before. He heard about it. He needs it. Shuabin, for his part, is deeply unimpressed by Lu Shirao's group. He leans out of his window with the confidence of a man who has rifles and uses that to compensate for most things. You certainly found your way here. We even have guns. How did you end up scavenging? Lu Shirao calls up to him with a simple proposal. Come down. Clear the zombies. Let us in. Then we can talk. Shuabin's team, feeling the pressure of their situation, takes the bait. They come outside. They wade into the zombie horde. They fight their way toward the building entrance. And while they're outside, in the middle of the horde, surrounded, Lu Shirao activates the spatial trait. He swaps the physical locations of both groups. One moment, Lu Shirao's team is standing in the street watching the zombie horde with nervous energy. The next, they are inside the building, safe behind solid walls. And Shuabin's armed team, who thought they were fighting their way to an open door, are now standing exactly where Lu Shirao's group was. Outside, in the middle of the zombie horde. The side effect hits Lu Shirao like a physical blow. A spatial trait of that scale costs something, and he staggers, gripping the wall, fighting off the backlash with gritted teeth. He recovers. He goes to find Schwabin, who has been separated from his horde and captured. Schwabin is furious. He is also, deep down, terrified, and the terror wins when Lu Shurao explains what he wants. Give me your medical talent. Absolutely not. Lu Shurao doesn't threaten his life. He threatens something more specific, non-lethal, endless, unrelenting suffering. Sometimes not being able to die is the most painful thing of all. He says this very quietly, which makes it worse. Schwabin caves. I agree to trade. Then, immediately, almost in the same breath, no, I don't want to trade anymore. The system responds, host value insufficient. Unable to initiate transaction. Schwabin has agreed and reversed too fast, and the system decides he isn't worth processing. Lu Shurao pivots without missing a beat. Tell me about Qin Ming. And something strange happens. Schwabin, who moments ago was a hostile prisoner with a gun pointed at him, starts talking about Qin Ming the way people talk about a celebrity they've never met. He worships the man, has never encountered him, has built an entire mythology around him based on second-hand accounts. Lu Shurao mocks this gently but precisely, and then offers a trade. Real information about Qin Ming from someone who actually fought in his shadow, in exchange for knowledge and a talent transfer. Schwabin agrees. The transaction locks. Lu Shurao gains the medical talent. He also gains memory fragments, pieces of Schwabin's past that are, apparently, deeply unpleasant. He processes them with the expression of a man eating something that has gone slightly off and deciding to finish it anyway. But the important part is the intelligence. Qin Ming is planning to assassinate Professor Yu, the world's leading vaccine scientist. He is operating out of Jinghai. He already had talent users embedded within the military before the outbreak even started, which explains why the armed forces collapsed so catastrophically fast. This is worse than Lu Shurao expected. He knew Qin Ming was dangerous. He didn't fully grasp how organized. He trades Schwabin a kind personality, the memory of being someone gentler, and lets him go. It's a strange mercy. Schwabin walks away confused about why he suddenly feels like apologizing for everything. Lu Shurao stands alone for a moment and reads the system notification again. Host can transfer other acquired talents through trading. He can't use the medical talent himself. He can only hold one talent at a time, but he can give it to someone else. He knows exactly who. He rushes back. Gu Yanyan's mother Andy is declining again. Whatever stability they achieved with the insulin is slipping. Her vision is going, her mobility fading, her body losing the fight inch by inch. Gu Yanyan is sitting with her, holding her hand, not crying but clearly about to. Lu Shurao comes in without preamble. Do you want Andy to get better? She looks at him. Yes. The transaction confirms. The medical talent transfers to Gu Yanyan. The moment it lands, her hands begin to glow, a warm, steady light that neither of them has ever seen before. She stares at her own hands like she's meeting them for the first time. She crosses the room to her mother. She places those glowing hands on Andy, and the change is immediate. Visible. Real. Andy's breathing steadies. Her eyes clear. Her legs, which haven't worked properly in days, tighten with returning strength. She looks up at her daughter with tears running silently down her face. My eyes, she whispers. My legs. My whole body feels lighter. Gu Yan is crying. Andy is crying. Even the room feels different, like something heavy just left it. Lu Shurao stands in the doorway and gives them the moment. He doesn't explain what just happened. Not yet. When Gu Yan finally turns to him, eyes still wet, she asks what the talent is and what he is. He tells her the truth, that after the outbreak, a very small number of people awakened superpowers. He is one of them. He transferred his to her. She says, of course I believe you. I would never harm you. He nods, turns to leave. He does not tell her that he also thinks she smells good, because this is not the moment. Behind him, mother and daughter hold each other in a room that is, against all odds, briefly peaceful. But outside, the emergency broadcast is about to change everything again. The announcement comes through every speaker in the city at once. The U.S. Desenberg lab suffered a serious leak. The virus is about to upgrade to airborne transmission. The team goes silent. One person says what everyone is thinking. The air itself is a source of infection. Food, water, even breathing, could lead to infection. Lu Shurao says 3 words, a whole year early. The airborne mutation was supposed to be the apocalypse's second phase, the point where even the most careful survivors ran out of options. It was supposed to give them time. Now it's here. Now. Today. Which means the window to reach the port has collapsed from weeks into hours. He gathers everyone and lays out the full plan for the first time. Pamir Island. 150 nautical miles from the mainland. High terrain that the ocean currents filter naturally. The airborne virus disperses before it can reach the island's interior. They build 3 reinforced walls on the perimeter. They establish agriculture, animal husbandry, and light industry over 10 years. Eventually, a self-sufficient ecological dome. The team absorbs this in stages. We're going to be island owners, someone says, half disbelieving, half thrilled. Lu Shirao assigns division of labor. Who handles what? Who goes where? Who protects who during the departure? They leave the next morning. But first, one more critical stop. He needs Chenu. He knows about her from his past life. Her full name is Shunyu. She has a construction talent, the ability to move, stack, and build with massive objects remotely. Containers over 1,000 pounds. Rebar and concrete positioned with the precision of a machine and the speed of thought. She can build structures and barriers in seconds. In his past life, she never left her apartment. She starved to death. She was never bitten. She was never threatened. She was simply too afraid to open her door, and that fear killed her just as surely as any zombie. The team reaches her building. They call up to her window. She calls back from behind a barricaded door, full of those things outside. Even if you gave me 10 times the courage, I wouldn't dare come out. She doesn't know it, but she just handed them the solution. Zhang Chong looks at Lu Shirao. Lu Shirao looks at Zhang Chong. A plan forms in approximately 4 seconds. Before anyone can negotiate further, a new threat appears from below, a type of zombie nobody in the group has encountered before. These ones carry weapons. They move in coordinated patterns. A few of them speak, actual words, not just sounds. Lu Shirao watches them for 2 seconds and then says with controlled urgency, "Those using weapons are humans. They've blended into the horde. Venom users. Qin Ming's people. Human-zombie hybrids who got there by mixing Qin Ming's blood into their bodies. Blood that zombies recognize as one of their own. They gain enhanced physical capability and complete immunity to the virus. They also lose their free will entirely. Running into Venom forces once could be coincidence. Twice in the same week means Qin Ming has noticed them. Zhang Chong offers Chinu a trade while the hybrid soldiers close in from below. His courage, temporarily, in exchange for following Lu Shirao's actions for exactly 10 minutes. Chinu, behind her door, thinks for approximately 1 second. The transaction completes. The door flies open. The woman who comes through it is a completely different person from the one who was hiding 2 minutes ago. She moves like she's been waiting for this. She doesn't look at the streets below. She doesn't look at the hybrids. She looks at the space around her with the expression of an architect seeing blueprints. "I'm going to take on 10 of you," she announces to the enemy soldiers below, and the team barely has time to grab her before she charges toward them. They load her into the vehicle. Fast. The chase begins immediately. The Venom hybrid soldiers are on them. Fast, organized, tactical in a way that normal zombies simply aren't. The car engine is fighting its own limits. Lu Shirao's calculations are running at full speed. Chenu, still riding borrowed courage with 5 minutes on the clock, activates her construction talent. She builds a ramp. Not a small one. A massive, precisely placed ramp of stacked debris and reinforced materials, assembled in seconds, angles calculated in her head without ever touching a measuring tool. Captain Zhou, a military captain who has joined the group and whose own talent, transformation, lets him convert objects with similar material components into other forms, looks at the ramp and makes a decision. He presses his talent into the car. The vehicle changes. Systems override. The engine output goes somewhere it was never designed to go. The car hits the ramp at full acceleration. It becomes airborne. The hybrid soldiers watch from below as the vehicle clears the obstacle zone entirely, catching air in a way that cars are not meant to, and lands on the far side of the barrier in a controlled enough crash that everyone inside is shaken and bruised but alive. Behind them, the Venom forces cannot follow. Exactly on schedule, the 10 minutes expire. Chenu's borrowed courage evaporates. Her real emotions return like a wave. She looks out the window at what she just did, the ramp she built, the soldiers she escaped, the genuine impossibility of the last 3 minutes. And her face cycles through about 6 different stages of horror. "What did I just do?" she says quietly. "You saved everyone," Lu Shirao tells her. She decides this is only barely acceptable. In the back seat, Captain Zhou is breathing through the backlash of his talent. Using transformation at that scale extracts a cost. He needs rest, or the next major push could break something that doesn't recover. He's already calculating how much he has left. Lu Shirao is also calculating. Running into Venom forces twice is not chance. Qin Ming isn't just building an army. He is specifically coming for them. He knows about Professor Yu. He knows about the vaccine. And now he may know that Lu Shirao's group is moving toward the port. "The biggest threat in my past life," Lu Shirao says quietly. "Didn't expect to face it so soon. But there's still one trap standing between them and the ship. The vaccine stock has to be secured before anything else. Without it, the island plan is just survival, not recovery. Without Professor Yu's research, humanity doesn't come back. It just waits to die on a nicer beach." Based on Guangwei's corporate knowledge and the memory fragments taken from Schwabin, Lu Shirao's team locates what appears to be a national research lab. The camouflage is convincing. Surface markings, signage, structural details, all correct. Inside, every single container is a fake. They check every shelf, every cabinet, every cooler. Not one real sample. And then from the doorway, a voice says, "It wasn't easy to lure you out." His name is Lao Mao. He is Qin Ming's most effective intelligence operative. He intercepted military communications weeks ago, edited the records, seeded false locations, waited for someone smart enough to find this spot. When Lu Shirao's team walked in the door, the trap closed. Lao Mao holds up a row of bottles. One real vaccine stock. The rest, fakes. He offers a choice that is not really a choice. Send someone down to identify the real one. Pick wrong, and they die? Pick right, and he still has a gun. Lu Shirao looks at Lao Mao for a long moment. Then he smiles. "Lao Mao, care for a wager with me?" He proposes the trade directly. "I receive the genuine vaccine stock. Your bullets hit me." Lao Mao hears this and thinks he has won. Lu Shirao gets the real stock, but he also absorbs every bullet Lao Mao fires at him. Inescapably, the trade will guarantee the bullets land. It's a suicide deal. Lao Mao agrees, confident he's taken an idiot's bet. The transaction locks. The real vaccine stock transfers to Lu Shirao, and every bullet Lao Mao fires will, by system rules, hit its target. Lu Shirao immediately runs. Lao Mao screams after him. "You little brat. You dare take advantage of me?" The chase is on, and somewhere in a car with a rebuilt engine and a doctor with glowing hands, the most important object in the post-apocalyptic world is riding toward a ship that hasn't left yet. Lao Mao's vehicles are faster. That's the problem. Lu Shirao's group is in a car that Captain Zhou already pushed past its limits once today. The engine is protesting. The tires are making sounds tires should not make. And behind them, Lao Mao's convoy is closing the gap with the grinding inevitability of someone who planned this and had time to choose his vehicles carefully. Captain Zhou activates transformation again. He knows the cost. He activates it anyway. He presses the talent into the car's engine systems, reroutes, converts, optimizes components that weren't designed for this, and the vehicle surges forward with a speed that shouldn't be possible from a machine in this condition. The gap opens. Lao Mao's convoy falls back, but the trade is still active. Lao Mao's bullets will hit Lu Shirao. The transaction doesn't care about distance. The transaction doesn't care about speed. When Lao Mao fires, the system will deliver those rounds regardless. Gu Yinyin reminds him of this from the back seat. Not panicked, just precise. You traded bullets with him. There's no escaping the consequences. Lu Shirao knows. Lao Mao's convoy takes a shot at the tires. 2 shooters, disciplined, targeting the rear left first. The car swerves. Gu Yinyin grabs the gun herself without announcing it, raises it with both hands, and, through a rear window at high speed, puts a round through the driver of the lead pursuing vehicle. The pursuing car goes sideways. The convoy tangles. The gap reopens. Nobody says anything for a moment. Everyone just looks at her. She hands the gun back to Lu Shirao without making eye contact. "Headshot," she says simply. Captain Zhou's talent reaches its absolute ceiling. Optimization maxed. He manages through gritted teeth. Keep going, and the car explodes. He pulls his focus back, and the vehicle, suddenly running on its natural limits again, begins to struggle. Speed drops. The road gets harder. The car loses control on a curve. It crashes. Not catastrophically, not into a wall, but enough that everyone inside is shaken hard and the vehicle isn't moving again. La Mao's convoy catches up. La Mao himself climbs out of his lead vehicle, moving toward the wreck with the satisfied expression of a man who has waited for exactly this. He hasn't fired yet. The transaction is still live. He's saving those bullets. Yin makes a calculation instantly. If La Mao dies, the transaction that guarantees his bullets hit Lu Shirao becomes void. No party, no deal. She moves to go after him herself. Captain Zhou stops her. He meets her eyes. He says to stay. He goes instead. What follows is brutal and brief and close range. Captain Zhou and La Mao in the wreckage of a post-apocalyptic highway. Neither of them fully intact. Both of them fighting with the specific, controlled viciousness of people who have been trained past the point where pain matters. Both take wounds. La Mao takes worse ones. La Mao dies. The transaction penalty activates the moment La Mao's life ends. The system-guaranteed bullet hits Lu Shirao because the deal was made, the terms were real, and the transaction doesn't care that La Mao is dead. The system delivers what was promised. The round hits. It should be fatal. It is the kind of wound that ends things. Yin's medical talent ignites. Her hands go to the wound. The glow comes. The healing is immediate and total. She pours everything she is into it, every scrap of remaining energy, until the wound closes and Lu Shirao's color comes back, and he is, impossibly, not dying. And then she collapses. The talent reserves are empty. Overuse. Total depletion. She goes down hard and Lu Shirao catches her, and for a moment, he holds someone who just spent everything she had to keep him alive, and the expression on his face is the one he never lets happen in front of anyone. He carries her the rest of the way. Back at the port, the operation has been moving in parallel. Chenu, exhausted from the earlier talent use, but functional, has been clearing obstacles on the waterfront. The massive shipping containers that line the docks, the wreckage and debris blocking access to the piers, the structural barriers between the team and their ship. She has been moving all of it with focused, methodical precision, headache building behind her eyes with every ton she shifts. Professor Yu has boarded the Yuan Wang 7 with the vaccine stock secured. He is already discussing the inhibitor development timeline with whoever will listen. He's the type of scientist who thinks in terms of months and data points even when the world is on fire around him. It's both his best quality and occasionally infuriating. The freighter's engines have been restored. The engineering team estimates departure by dawn. Captain Zhou, back from the highway in worse shape than when he left, notes the problem with this timeline. Dawn is when zombies are most aggressive. The biological cycles of the virus mean that the early morning hours trigger peak activity in the infected population. Departing at dawn means departing into the worst possible window. They don't have another choice. Then Li Shangjuan goes missing. And then Xin Shuabin goes missing. Lu Shirao looks at both pieces of information. The woman who was already under a maximum penalty contract, the man who was already known to worship Qin Ming without having met him, and connects them with the intelligence he gathered weeks ago about a traitor within the military structure. The mystery is solved, he says. He doesn't explain further. He just gives the order. Everyone moves to the port immediately. Right now, no delays, no stragglers, because Qin Ming is coming. The first signs are subtle, movements at the edge of the port, shadows that are the wrong shape, the particular sound that evolves when a zombie horde isn't wandering but advancing with direction. Captain Zhou gets the defense line organized. Li Meng positions the heavy machine gun. Chenu takes a second dose of borrowed courage from Zhang Chong. Her expression this time is one of tired resignation rather than shock, because she's done this before and she knows it's going to hurt on the other side. The attack comes from both directions at once. The zombie horde hits the perimeter barriers with the weight and pressure of a wave. Behind the horde, moving through it like they own it, are Qin Ming's Venom hybrid soldiers, organized, armed, tactical, absolutely immune to the creatures surrounding them. Two types of threat, one coordinated assault, and the port's defenders are immediately fighting on multiple fronts. Chu Yong, Captain Zhou's most loyal soldier, a young man who has been at the captain's shoulder through every battle in this arc, takes a wound in the opening minutes that is critical. Not superficial. Critical. Yin is still depleted. She hasn't recovered. But she moves to him anyway, still mostly on willpower at this point, hands shaking from the earlier talent drain, and begins working. Li Meng opens up with the heavy machine gun, and the effect is immediate and decisive. The suppression fire creates space, breaks momentum. The horde pushes slower. The hybrids have to reorganize. Chinu activates construction. With borrowed courage running through her, and 300 pounds of focused headache building behind her eyes, she looks at the port's stacked shipping containers, massive steel boxes weighing thousands of tons each, and starts moving them like pieces on a board. Building. Stacking. Wall after wall of interlocked steel rising between the horde and the ship. Barriers that no zombie can climb and no hybrid can easily breach. My head hurts so much, she says, not stopping. The wall goes up. The horde crashes against it and stalls. Yuan Wang 7's engine check comes in. Restored. Running. Ready. Everyone evacuate to Pier 3 immediately. The team begins pulling back toward the gangway, covering fire, controlled retreat, nobody left behind. It is not clean. It is loud and fast, and the hybrids are still pushing, and there are moments where it seems like the line might break. But it holds. It holds because the people holding it have been through things that should have broken them and didn't. They are 50 meters from the gangway when the attack stops. Not because the horde retreats. Not because the hybrids fall back. The attack stops because something more important has arrived. Qinming walks through his own army like it parts for him naturally. He is exactly as Lu Shirao described. Charismatic and imposing and completely, genuinely certain that what he is doing is right. He looks at the exhausted, wounded team assembled on the pier and speaks to them like a professor addressing students who haven't yet grasped the lesson. Li Shangjuan is standing beside him. She looks at the team with the expression of someone who has made a choice and is committed to justifying it. Lu Shirao and Dr. Gua are so mean, she says. You must protect me. Qin Ming addresses the survivors with real warmth in his voice. You see so many new compatriots freed from society's shackles, and you don't welcome them. He means his hybrid army. He genuinely, truly means it. He demands Professor Yu. Lu Shirao says no. Qin Ming activates Venom. There are no hesitations when Qin Ming moves. That's the first thing the team learns in the opening seconds of this fight. He doesn't threaten. He doesn't posture. He activates Venom and crosses the distance to Lu Shirao with the smooth efficiency of someone who has done this many times before and knows exactly what the result is going to be. The wound he delivers is critical, deep and targeted, and laced with venom that the system cannot trade away because it was never part of a transaction. Lu Shirao goes down. Not dead, but close enough that the difference feels academic from the outside. The team rallies instantly. Zhang Chong, Li Meng, Captain Zhou, every fighter they have, and it is not enough. Qin Ming's venom-enhanced body absorbs what they throw at it. The hybrid soldiers surge forward to support him. The defense line, which held through the entire assault, begins to fracture at the edges. And Lu Shirao is lying on the pier, bleeding, thinking. He has been here before. Not exactly here. Not this pier. Not this enemy. Not this particular brand of defeat. But he has been in the position of being the smallest person in the room with the largest problem. He has won from there before. He is going to win from there now. He reaches into his coat. He pulls out a cigar. The team stares. Qin Ming stares. Even the hybrid soldiers seem to pause for a half-second, which is not something they are known for. Lu Shirao looks up at Qin Ming from the ground with blood on his jacket and absolute clarity in his eyes. This cigar, he says. In exchange, you give us 1 minute of ceasefire. 1 minute of dignity. Qin Ming looks at the cigar. Looks at Lu Shirao. He is not stupid. He is one of the most dangerous men alive, and he did not get there by being stupid. But he is also a man who respects a certain kind of audacity, and something about the specific calm with which a half-dead person is offering him a cigar on a burning pier at dawn is, if nothing else, interesting. He reaches out and takes it. I'd like to see how you plan to die. The transaction locks. Both sides cease fire for exactly 60 seconds. The system makes this absolute. No attack, no movement toward violence, no exceptions. The hybrid soldiers feel it land on them like a physical leash. The ceasefire is not a gentleman's agreement. It is a binding contract enforced by something that does not negotiate. 60 seconds. Qin Ming smokes. Lu Shirao lies on the ground and does not waste a single one of them. I forgot to tell you, he says, looking up at the sky above the port. There's more than one talent user here. Somewhere above Qin Ming, on the port's crane structures, on the elevated loading platforms, in the stacked container walls that Qinyu built, something begins to move. Xinyu activates construction talent. The structure above Qin Ming begins to shift. Weight redistributes. Tons of steel and concrete, positioned over the course of the entire battle by a woman who spent the last hour building what everyone thought was just a defensive wall, begins to come down. Qin Ming reads it in the same second it starts moving. He pivots. He begins to move. He is fast enough and smart enough to get out, except that the transaction rules bind him. 1 minute of ceasefire means 1 minute of no violent action. Moving to evade the collapsing structure is, by system logic, a reaction to a hostile event. He cannot move. His soldiers try to attack. The system backlash hits them immediately, a punishment designed for exactly this kind of breach, landing hard on every Venom hybrid who raises a weapon. Dare to defy talent rules. Lu Shirao says quietly from the ground. You'll suffer a slow, painful death. The contract penalty for Li Shangjuan activates in the same moment. She made a deal. The deal had terms. The terms had consequences for betrayal. She had betrayed everyone on this pier, and the system has been waiting. She dies. The penalty is instant. She doesn't even have time to look surprised. Captain Zhou destroys the remaining hybrid soldiers in the window that the backlash creates. Li Meng empties the heavy machine gun into the breach. The structure falls. Qin Ming goes under it. The team stands in the aftermath, breathing hard and bleeding and not entirely believing they are still alive. The pier is devastated. The hybrid army is broken. The containers are collapsed into a mountain of wreckage over the spot where the most powerful man in the post-apocalypse was standing 60 seconds ago. Then the rubble moves. Of course it does. Qin Ming is buried. His soldiers are dying. The hybrid modifications that kept them alive are failing without his direction, and every one of them is losing strength. But Qin Ming can reach into their failing bodies and pull. His blood, the venom blood he shared with each of them when he made them what they are, is still in them. He calls it back. One by one, from across the battlefield, the last traces of his venom pull free from dying soldiers and flow back to him. It is terrible to watch, a man sustaining himself on what his followers are losing. But it works. The rubble keeps moving. He keeps pulling. And by the time the last trace of shared blood finds its way back, Qin Ming has enough. He drags himself free of the wreckage. He is not intact. He is broken in ways that should be final. His body is held together by venom and willpower, and whatever passes for conviction in a man who genuinely believes he is liberating humanity. He stands in the ruins of what was supposed to be his victory, and he looks at Lu Shirao with something that is almost respect. Even if it's the last time, he says, it's enough. He reaches Lu Shirao. He delivers the final wound. One last cut. One last push of venom. One last attempt to make something matter before the body fails completely. Lu Shirao takes it. He was expecting this. He has been expecting this since the cigar lit. Some endings require paying a price, and he made his peace with that price before Qin Ming even picked up the cigar. Captain Zhou makes the final kill. He doesn't hesitate. He doesn't make a speech. He is a soldier who has been fighting since before this pier, and he does what soldiers do when the job needs finishing. The system announces it cleanly. Transaction party deceased. Transaction terminated. Qin Ming's venom dissolves. The biological control signal that held his hybrid army together collapses instantly. Every venom-fused soldier either freed from the modifications or overwhelmed by the failure of the compound keeping them stable. Some fall. Some simply stop being what they were. The threat that was Qin Ming's army becomes, in the space of a single announcement, a field of people and things that no longer have a center. The threat is over. Yin is already moving. She was not going to let him lie there with a fresh wound and a venom hit when she had hands that glow. She reaches him. She uses what's left in her reserves, whatever the medical talent salvaged during the battle, whatever her body rebuilt in the 15 minutes since she last ran dry, and she puts it all into the wounds. It is enough. Barely, but enough. Lu Shirao's color comes back. He breathes. He looks up at the sky, which is going from black to gray-blue at the edges. The specific shade that means dawn is approximately 20 minutes away. He says nothing for a long moment. Then, everyone to the ship. Yuan Wang 7 sits at Pier 3 with its engines running. Professor Yu already on deck reviewing his notes about the inhibitor timeline. Chenu lying flat on the deck with a cold cloth on her forehead and her talent on full recovery. Captain Zhou's soldiers and Lu Shirao's people intermingled and exhausted and alive. Li Meng carries Gu Yanyan aboard. She has passed out again. Overuse, second time in one day, and the system does not make exceptions for people who give more than they have. He is careful with her. He has been fierce and brutal and extortionate and loyal and terrible and protective through this entire story. And right now he is being careful with someone who saved his leader's life. The gangway comes up. The lines are cast off. The freighter begins to move. Professor Yu watches the port recede from the stern rail and begins, almost immediately, describing what the inhibitor development timeline looks like at sea. He needs laboratory space. He needs certain equipment. He has the vaccine stock and the genomic map and the 3 years of research from his previous life worth of dead ends already eliminated. The inhibitor is possible. The island can be safe. Lu Shirao stands at the bow as the ship clears the harbor and the city, burning in patches, mostly silent. The zombie horde that was Qin Ming's weapon, now directionless, falls behind them. The dawn is breaking now, orange and gold over the water, and for a moment it is just that, just the light. One question remains unspoken on the ship, somewhere in the space between the victory and the relief. Is Qin Ming truly dead? His body is gone. His blood was shared with dozens of hybrids before the battle. In the chaos of the collapse and the dissolution of his Venom army, did enough of it survive somewhere? In some host who didn't die? In some fragment that could rebuild? Lu Shirao has no answer to this. He knows what he saw. He knows the system announced the transaction terminated. He knows Captain Zhou made the kill. But he also knows what Venom blood can do to a body, and what a man with enough willpower and enough conviction can survive. He files the question away. There will be time for it on the island. There will be time for other things too. Unspoken things that have been accumulating through every trade and every crisis and every moment where the system triggered and the moment after, where nothing triggered but the feeling remained. He doesn't look back at the stern where Gu Yan is sleeping. He doesn't need to. He knows she's there. The ship moves east into the light. The inhibitor research continues below decks. Chenu starts snoring. Zhang Chong tells her to quiet down, and she tells him to go build his own ramp, and everyone is too tired to argue with this. Pamir Island is 150 nautical miles away. The airborne virus is spreading through the mainland behind them. The world is not saved. Not yet, not close, but it is not lost either. Lu Shirao died once and came back. He's been spending that second chance on purpose, every minute, every trade, every calculation. The apocalypse is not something you survive by being the strongest person in the room. It is something you survive by making every exchange count, by understanding that everything has value, that anything can be traded, and that the most important deals are the ones the system doesn't enforce because they were never transactions to begin with. He finally turns away from the bow as the last shadow of the port disappears behind the horizon. The ship rocks gently. The sun is up. He goes below. If this story hit you hard, smash that like button and subscribe for more manhwa recaps just like this one. Drop a comment telling me which trade shocked you the most. See you in the next one.